Jared Meyer, who co-authored Disinherited, a book that describes how the current political establishment is holding back the millennial generation, recently shared his thoughts on the minimum wage debate with the McIver Institute.
With the current political debate around the minimum wage, you would think that 90% of workers earned this and it was the biggest concern facing the country. The fact is, less than 3% of workers earn the minimum wage, and over half those who do are teens and young adults. Additionally, 2/3 of minimum wage workers work part-time. So while I can't imagine how difficult it would be to raise a family on a minimum wage income, thankfully that's an exception, not the norm when it comes to minimum wage earners. And a lot of people, they're well-intentioned. They want to raise the minimum wage to give their fellow Americans a raise. But it doesn't work that simple. Instead of leveling the economic playing field, when you raise the minimum wage, you're cutting off the first few rungs of the career ladder. Because I know me personally, back when I got my first minimum wage job when I was 16, there was no way, I'm surprised they even paid me $7.25 an hour, but there was no way I was worth $10 an hour or 15. But luckily, I was able to get into the workforce, learn the hard and soft skills that school just can't teach, and I was able to move up from there. And we see this with unpaid internships as well. A lot of companies, now private companies under President Obama's Labor Department, can't offer unpaid internships. But of course, as government typically does, they exempted themselves. So you can still go work for President Obama's Council of Economic Advisors, you can work for your congressman, you can work for a nonprofit and an unpaid internship. But when it comes to companies, students can't do this. And instead of having to just have an unpaid internship, now students have to pay to do an internship. For example, if you went to George Washington University in Washington, D.C., I ran their tuition numbers, and you could end up paying $12,000 just to do an unpaid internship to get the college credit. Because employers, they're not saints, they're not a charity, they're not there to spend all their time training someone, but they're willing to take on interns, maybe pay them a low wage or no wage at all, so that they can use another part of their education. I think the way to look at internships and even minimum wage jobs are training opportunities so that people can build up skills and build up their human capital. So whenever we make it more expensive or more difficult to hire young, low-experienced workers, we're cutting off career opportunities that will have effects that will reverberate down an individual's future.
Democrats in the Wisconsin legislature are currently pushing to raise the state's minimum wage from $7.25 to $10.10 an hour. That's unlikely to pass, at least this session. For the McIver Institute, I'm Bill Osmolsky.